Umbral Glaive is a super underrated rush item on a bunch of junglers, while Nidalee is the most sleeper OP support after her recent buffs. In today's video, we'll be covering 10 of the most OP off-meta champs and builds for patch 12.8. Now, you've probably wondered to yourself, is SkillCapped really worth it? Well, let's find out. What rank were you before you started SkillCapped?
So, I was bronze, but I think I was working my way back down to iron.
May have been high silver, but I think I was gold.
And what's the highest rank you've achieved with SkillCapped?
I've got several accounts I've hit gold on.
Diamond 2.
Is there anything SkillCapped helped you learn that would have taken you longer without it?
If I keep track of where that enemy jungler is, he's on the other side of the map, and it looks like he's ganking by bot lane, and I'm on the top side of the map. I can't get there in time, so there's no way I can impact that. I'm going to go seal his topside camps, or I'm going to grab Rift now.
Just lots of ideas like, hey, I'm strong early, I'm Lee Sin, let's analyze all the lane matchups and go to a lane where I have Prio and Invade. That's not something I would be doing on my own every game, but that is something I'm doing because of SkillCapped.
When I played League before SkillCapped, I was sort of playing and feeling my way around. And then after coming across SkillCapped and trying it for a little while, during one of the videos, I think, a sudden click of, hold on a second, this is not just a game of running around and killing people. This is a game about strategy. This is a game about moving the pieces so that the future becomes predictable and then acting on that future.
So what are you waiting for? Get real results at skillcapped.com, link in the description below. Tired of playing the standard Bruiser Urgot? Well, there's a brand new build going around that revolves around Prowler's Claw as a core item. The build is seeing the most play over in Korea, as around 10% of Korean top laners are rushing Prowlers. Second item is Titanic Hydra, and third item is a Black Cleaver, so that you remain durable and a threat in the side lane. One of the main weaknesses to Urgot is that he has a difficult time reaching his targets. Sure, you have the gap close from E, but it's not a super long-range spell, and once it's down, you got nothing left in regards to mobility. E, in combination with Prowler's active, provides Urgot with a significantly larger pick range, and it allows him access onto targets he'd usually never be able to reach. You've also got some sneaky burst as well due to the AD and lethality from Prowlers, so you can take advantage of the fact the enemy won't be expecting your damage. The rune page will be Press the Attack with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Shield Bash and Bone Plating are best for secondaries. The most sleeper OP top laner for 12.8 is the newly buffed Sejuani. Sedge top performs extremely well into many annoying fighters like Riven, Jax, and Gangplank. If you're playing around passive and Q cooldown, there's very little way for a Riven or Jax to outtrade you. Passive offers extra resists, so if you're able to take short trades whenever it's up, you're going to win out. Since Sejuani has the gap close from Q, you can run Ignite with Teleport instead of Flash, which provides some very unexpected solo kill power. Underrated picks like Sedge are so potent if you can spend the time on them, because the enemy won't have a clue as to how much damage you deal. You want to start Q level 1 in most matchups, but max W out first, into Q second, and E last. Winter's Approach is a really nice item for Sejuani, and in combination with Frostfire Gauntlet, provides a ton of health, which synergizes great with her max health scaling on W. The rune page is Grasp with Demolish, Second Wind, and Overgrowth. Biscuits and Cosmic Insight are the optimal secondaries. We've seen First Strike with Treasure Hunter popping off on many AD junglers like Rengar, Talon, and Kiana, but one champ flying heavily under the radar with the rune page is Evelynn. Only about 10% of Evelynn players are abusing the rune page, but it's winning over 2% more than Electrocute. As a champion with incredible one-shot power, Evelynn has the ability to amass a ridiculous amount of gold from First Strike. You could make the argument that since Evelynn isn't a super strong early game jungler, that the rune page wouldn't work the best, but it's really not the case. Once you get level 6, every time you find a pick on an opponent and use your full burst combo, you'll start generating so much gold. With all the extra gold income, you're able to hit a Rabadon spike extremely early on and just start one popping every one off spawn. The complete rune page to run is First Strike with Free Boots, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Grab Eyeball Collector and Treasure Hunter for secondaries. It's not much of a secret how broken an Umbral Glaive rush is on Graves right now, but another jungler who's performing just as well with much less recognition is Kha'Zix. It's mainly the Koreans who are loving the Umbral rush on both Graves and Ka. Umbral is seeing incredible success, outperforming every mythic option. The 12.7 buffs were obviously the driving force of this shift in meta, as Umbral is such a cheap snowbally pickup. Costing only 2,300 gold, if you're running First Strike and Treasure Hunter along with Futures Market, picking up 2 early kills could net you a 5-minute Umbral purchase on your first base. This is so broken, as you'll instantly have access to an item that hard counters the enemy team's vision. The worst possible outcome when you're ahead as an assassin jungler is going for an invade play but walking over a ward and then being collapsed on and giving over your shutdown. You never have to worry about this when rushing Umbral, as you'll be notified when walking over wards, which makes pushing a lead way more reliable. The core build to try is Umbral Glaive into Prowler's Claw 2nd and Ghostblade 3rd. A champion we haven't seen in meta for years that is fresh off some great scaling buffs this patch is Vel'Koz mid. Q and W AP ratios were both increased, which will greatly enhance Vel's value into many of the shorter ranged mages. Vel should be used way more often as a counter to the likes of Ryze, Veigar, Anivia, Malz, and Cassio. You can perma-shove those champs under tower with W, and as they try to CS, land free poke with Q and chunk them out to where you can all in. Come mid to late game teamfights, the zone control and range advantage from Q and ultimate makes it nearly impossible for shorter range champs to succeed. Of course, it's still difficult to successfully blind pick Vel as he has his issues into mobile assassins, but picking him in the right spots can be so lethal moving forward. Core build is Luden's Rush against Squishies or Liandry's into health stackers, followed by Shadow Flame 2nd and Zanya's or Rabadon's 3rd. Grab First Strike as the keystone with Freeboots, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Mana Flow and Gathering Storm work best for secondaries. A build players need to be abusing more on Cassiopeia is slotting in Gargoyle Stoneplate as a 3rd purchase. Stoneplate Shield scales with health, and since Cassio's first 2 core items in Everfrost and Archangels provide 450 health, it works great. Cass is a mage who needs to get up close and in the enemy's face to be successful, so you're always going to find use out of the shield in teamfights. The passive on Stoneplate is something most players aren't even aware of, as you gain 5% bonus armor and MR when taking damage. The passive can stack up to 5 times, but you only gain 1 stack per champion. This really isn't an issue for Cass though, due to the fact that it's very likely you're going to be hit by multiple enemies in a teamfight. So overall, since Cass is a shorter ranged mage and needs to be up close to thrive in extended fights, the tankiness that Stoneplate provides has amazing synergy. The rune page to run on Cass is Conqueror for the keystone, while Conditioning and Overgrowth are great secondaries for added scaling strength. A brand new Jhin build picking up a lot of traction over in Korea consists of an Umbral Glaive Rush into Eclipse 2nd. The cost reduction on Umbral and buff to its passive make it such an efficient item. You also have to keep in mind Gale Force was just recently nerfed, so it's another factor as to why these lethality builds are popping up more. Fleet was nerfed too, so running a lethality build with Dark Harvest has been given so much added value in the past couple patches. Majority of Jhin players built Gale Force into the Collector, and that core costs 6,400 gold. Umbral into Eclipse only costs 5,400 gold, so it's 1,000 gold cheaper. Treasure Hunter is taken in runes as well, so if you pick up a few kills in lane, the purchase time of your core build will be significantly faster. You're missing out on the crit from Gale and Collector, along with 10 less AD, but the lethality from Umbral and Eclipse gives your abilities a ton more damage. When snowballing and playing off your supports pick plays with W and Ultimate, the lethality build is going to do more for you and costs way less. It's not just Jhin who more players are leaning the lethality route on, as Caitlyn is another to keep your eye on. Very similar to Jhin, Cait was hit by the recent Gale Force and Fleet nerfs. This has indirectly made an Eclipse Rush more enticing, especially if you're playing against a squishy composition. Cait Q has a 190% AD ratio when maxed out, and her ultimate a 200% bonus AD ratio, so her abilities can hit for massive damage with lethality. Since Cait has the ranged advantage in the majority of her matchups, you'll also be running First Strike instead of Fleet. First Strike not only works great in lane, but also has amazing synergy with Cait Ultimate, as it can chunk squishies really hard, which gives you a lot of First Strike gold. By far the most niche pick we'll feature in today's video is Nidalee Support. A few patches back, Nidalee saw a massive buff to the cast range on E, while the mana cost was lowered by 20 at max rank. The buff has allowed for Nidalee Support to see some very under-the-radar success in solo queue. Many players actually forget the fact Nidalee E provides an attack speed steroid, which makes it super strong to max out first. 60% bonus attack speed for 7 seconds is actually disgusting. 12% attack speed has a gold value of 300, so with 60% you're essentially providing your ADC with 1500 gold worth of stats for free. Definitely take Q at level 1 and play around lane brush for poke, but after that, max E. The build is standard AP with Eludens into Horizon Focus 2nd and Archangel's 3rd. Runes are First Strike with Freeboots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Best secondaries include Zombie Ward and Treasure Hunter. Ahri is so broken as a champion in general right now that you can even play her in the support role and see legitimate success. Ahri support is played slightly different to Ahri mid though, as a Q max is not seeing the best results. An E max first into W second and Q last is what you should be looking to prioritize. After all, you're playing Ahri support, so the added lockdown by maxing Charm gives your carries that extra time to burst the target out when you find a pick. The big spike for Ahri comes at level 6, where you can instantly punish the enemy support for leaving their carry alone. If the enemy support even just walks a little bit away to place a ward, dashing in with R and finding a catch with Charm can be very potent. Build is the same as you'd run for mid Ahri, with an Everfrost Rush into Zanya 2nd and Shadow Flame 3rd. Runes are where you spice things up by running Glacial as the keystone instead of Electrocute. Electro is definitely still viable, but since you're playing Ahri support, the extra utility from Glacial is generally more valuable. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into Elo Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So that's going to round everything out for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the new underrated builds, and we'll see you back soon.